Most of the tea drinking countries in the world have become coffee drinking countries. We don't want to be a brand which is a frivolous brand where consumers are coming by and then not coming back. Coffee is an aspirational category. If you start, treating coffee like a chai ki tapri, then you are doing disservice to the brand and to the category.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Big Brand Bets. And today we are going to understand the world of coffee and coffee making from Raja Chakraborty. He is the Chief Marketing Officer at Continental Coffee. Now, most people will not know a lot about Continental Coffee because of the fact that they have been focused a lot in the southern part of India. But with the acquisition of Percol, they are moving away from B2B to a B2C spectre. Hi Raja, let's dive straight in. The Percol acquisition marks your clearest move from, like I mentioned, from your B2B to your B2C category. So, are there any hard metrics that you're tracking, maybe sales, margins, distribution, over the next 2 years, which will help you understand how to go ahead with the marketing so that it's not just credited, but it's properly judged?
Yeah. Percol is a brand which originated in UK, and it was started by a advertising person called Mr. Brian Chapman. And the purpose of starting the brand was actually to create a coffee brand which is more purposeful. For us, the metric is that are we taking the Percol legacy in India also in that manner, because India is also one of the largest coffee producers, bean producers in the world. For Percol, our current measurement metrics is, because our objective is to evolve the consumer habits and give them a more indulgent experience about coffee. And first is, consumer loyalty, that people who are buying us, are they repeat buying us. So therefore what we track, and what we are tracking very closely, is our repeat percentage. In fact, on Amazon, I'm very happy to say that while we are very small, but we are actually better than the category average in terms of repeat consumer buying. The second is that what are consumers talking about our product? How do we make them realize the price value equation, because it's an expensive product. So I think that's the thing which is about brand loyalty. We are not so much measuring about how much sales is coming. uh, Good part is that it has also yielded some decent numbers as a first year brand. But I think we are kind of, our key measurement metrics is consumer ratings, consumer feedback, and repeat consumer purchase.
So you mentioned about the repeat consumers that is there.
Yeah.
Can you just give me an average for the retention that is there?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it comes on e-commerce platforms.
Yeah.
And what is it that Continental
Yeah.
Coffee
So
is
let's say,
averaging?
the coffee category repeat percentage for category average will be around 20-25%. For per call, it varies. It is varying from quarter to quarter, but it is as high as 45%, and uh, even it is as low as 30-35%. So it is always kind of trending better than the category. We don't want to be a brand which is a frivolous brand where consumers are coming by, buying, and then not coming back. And we will build the brand with other products, newer formats, which will be even more indulging in nature.
So if the category average is 20 to 25 and you're averaging 33 going up to 45,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
decent
Yeah.
uptick that you have. How exactly is it that you are able to reach out to the right kind of consumers or looking for indulgent things? Are you you've done data mapping to understand who are the right kind of people? Are you leaning on those people who are aware about Colombian brew? Are you looking at sustainability marketing? So, what exactly are the legs to your marketing campaigns?
So I think it's a good question, and primarily I think therefore it boils down to your media choices, because you will only reach out to the right consumer if your media choices are right. So I think for Percol, you wouldn't see any television advertising, because television advertising goes to a wide mass, and for everybody a very expensive coffee may not be relevant. So we are currently a very experiential brand, so we focus on participating in a lot of experiential events. So that is, I think, one of our key aspects of our media strategy. The second, of course, is that we are also therefore not there in traditional trade. We are not there even widely in modern trade. Even if we are there in a few stores of Reliance, or we are there in Reliance's most premium store. So primarily our go-to market is e-commerce driven, and in e-commerce you certainly have better access to data, where you can target consumers in many ways. So your media strategies can also be curated like that, and you can also further use a lot of data, whether it is first party data or third party data, to really kind of pinpoint your consumers. We really focus a lot on digital, on e-commerce, performance marketing on e-commerce, where we are certainly able to pinpoint the right consumers. We define the consumer filters very, very cautiously. Our media strategy is extremely narrow, and I think by being narrow, you are reaching out to the right audiences, and I think that's and we are going to follow that only. We are not in a hurry.
Outside of South, is Continental Coffee's biggest hurdle changing the drinking behavior, or building continental-led brand memory? Because that again will all have a reflection on the kind of media mapping that you do, the media spends that you do, the kind of channels that you select.
See, first of all, I think we are a very small brand. We are, growing now. So, of course, the least of our worries is, looking at the category as a hurdle. We look at the category as an opportunity. And I think, changing consumer habits and creating brand memories are actually kind of overlap with each other, because brands primarily change consumer habits by making them look at the category in newer ways. And you will see some of our campaigns coming in, next couple of quarters. You will see, even we have a brand, apart from Percol, also we have pure coffee brands and all. We will reposition coffee in a very different way. We are marketing coffee in a different way. Coffee penetration is very low outside of South, which itself is a boon, because and consumers interest about coffee is only expanding, and therefore the penetration is growing. The headroom is very, very long, and I think every brand will have its own share of the pie, because there is a lot of opportunity.
Coffee penetration outside of South is relatively low. If
Yeah,
I were to ask you that in a largely tea drinking part
yeah,
of
yeah,
West and North India,
yeah.
what is the coffee penetration?
The estimates per se are that, let's say, if it is in South, the penetration of coffee is around 65 odd percent, 65%. It will be one third of that in rest of India. And that is the opportunity. Most of the tea drinking countries in the world have become coffee drinking countries. So, for example, Southeast Asia, okay, is a hardcore, used to be a hardcore tea drinking country. The size of coffee category in Vietnam is bigger than that in India. And Vietnam originally was not a coffee drinking country. Japan originally was not a coffee drinking country. UK was not a coffee drinking country. In all these countries, now coffee is a larger category, very large. I think in UK coffee has just kind of become bigger than tea. So I think it's a trend that is being seen everywhere in the world, and India is also going through that trend. That is the opportunity, and coffee will eventually become a much bigger category.
You mentioned about Vietnam and other countries in Southeast
Right.
Asia as well as Japan and China. Most of these countries were able to move gradually
Yeah.
to a largely coffee drinking countries because of the fact that access to coffee
Yeah.
became that much more easier.
Yeah.
In India, in most parts of the country, you have chai ki tapri, the
Right.
addas,
Right.
and those are the first point of
Right.
contact for
Right.
the
Right.
beverage.
Right.
You do not have so many cafes. Most of the cafes are upscale, premium places. How do you change that consumer behavior?
So, okay, I have a different take on this. I think, first of all, it is not necessary that if you have to continuously grow a category, you have to reduce the price of the category. Coffee is an aspirational category. If you start, treating coffee like a chai ki tapri, then you are doing disservice to the brand and to the category, because in the mind of consumers, it is a more premium category compared to many other beverages. There is enough and more opportunity in terms of SKU sizing, pricing. You can make coffee more affordable, but it will always be a little bit more premium than, let's say, some of the other beverages. So, And the other part is that you are right that coffee penetration also goes hand in out of home consumption of coffee, because it comes a lot of times, many categories come from outside home to inside home. And I think outside home also it is only expanding. But when you have to do get together with your friends, you will not go to a chai ki tapri, you will go to a coffee shop. In China, for example, Luckin Coffee and all, it is the coffee shop model that has made coffee more affordable over there. In India also it's happening. So therefore coffee is, to my mind, coffee will always be premium compared to some other beverages. But that is not a hurdle to adoption, because the other aspect about coffee is that coffee and economic growth goes hand in hand. If China has becoming whatever 10 trillion or whatever trillion economy, in that phase only coffee has become the has become much larger. So therefore India is also on that path, right? I mean, we are on the path to become a 5 trillion economy, a 10 trillion economy. And as the per capita income becomes more and more, then these categories will not be seen as categories which are unaffordable categories. Second, there is continuously year after year more money will be there in the pockets of consumers. So we don't need to bother about how to make it affordable. Yes, I mean, it's not that only make it super premium. You can make it affordable in many ways, but you don't need to really kind of look at it from the lens of a tapri.
So if you move away from affordability to accessibility,
Yeah.
a lot of brands that you're there, and I will just take the names of a few, like you have Nandan Coffee, you have Upcook Coffee, and you also have the legacy players like a Nescafe and a Brew. They have also got their own units, where people can go and
Kiosks.
kiosk,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So they've set that up. Is that the road that Continental Coffee will also take? So the brand awareness keeps growing, not necessarily for Percol, but for
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
its
yeah. So
products.
first of all, we are already doing that. We have, for example, around couple of thousands of vending machines already there. So in a lot of offices, actually you're drinking Continental Coffee from Continental Coffee vending machines. If you travel in Shatabdi, in many parts of India, especially in North and all, the coffee that you get, if you ask for a coffee, you get our Continental Special sachet. In many hotels today, so we have a fairly good institutional business, which is all out of home. And we have vending machines. We are available in Indian Railways. That itself kind of makes the consumers come in contact with the brand. And you are right that I think the other aspect is and we are constantly looking at newer avenues in the out of home, so that our brand interacts with consumers beyond the product, because when you interact with consumers out of home, you come in home. So you are absolutely right, and we are already doing that, and we will be further kind of I would say looking into it, expanding that aspect. But we are fairly not very small on that already.
So the reason I asked
Yeah.
about retail kiosk is that because it
Yeah,
gives you
yeah,
a
that's also a
better
very big
branding.
opportunity.
So is that
Yeah,
on the
yeah. We are doing some pilots on that front. So maybe it all also has to make economic sense, financial sense. But we are certainly not kind of discounting that aspect. We are certainly looking into it. We are already doing some pilots as we speak. If you come to Hyderabad, in around 10 Hyderabad metro stations, you will find our kiosks, Continental Coffee kiosks. We are running them. We are seeing how it does, and if it all works well, we may scale it up also.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So you just mentioned about the fact that it has to make economic sense, right? And marketing spends are also rising alongside strong growth. And Continental Coffee has been seeing, good growth year on year. So what percentage of your revenue are you currently investing in your marketing spends? And I would also like to understand how that has evolved in the past 3 years, and do you expect that now with Percol and every, as you get into
Yeah.
newer
Yeah.
aspects, that it might plateau
Yeah.
anytime?
So I think first of all, marketing science is that marketing spend as a percentage of sales should continue. As the sales keep increasing, it should plateau. Okay, and ideally it should go down also at some point of time. That's the cycle. That's when you start leveraging the brand building. But we are right now in a growth phase. So in absolute, our spends have expanded significantly. Maybe we are 2x of what we were spending maybe 3 years back. So maybe our spend was 25% of the sales. Today we are around 8 to 12% of the sales is invested in marketing, and I don't think in absolute it will plateau, because our sales is continuously growing and we hope and expect it to continuously grow. And therefore, while the percentage may plateau, it may remain around 12 to 13% or so, and maybe it will come down, but absolute it will only become bigger. And that's the beauty of a business, that when an 8% of 100 rupees versus 8% of 1 lakh rupees are very different. So I think that's how it is. So yes, the percentage may plateau, but absolute it will not plateau, it will only expand. And the second part is that marketing is also about resource management. So therefore we are investing our money where the mouth is. Like you asked about that you should open kiosks, but I said that that we are doing some pilots, but it has to make economic sense. So currently I think our spends are highly focused. Let's say if it is south, it is focused on television, because unlike in rest of India, in south people still watch a lot of television. It is actually the medium. Okay. But rest of India is highly fragmented. Secondly, as I also said, that rest of India, still not everybody drinks coffee, which means that if you are advertising on television, you are reaching out to more tea drinking consumers rather than coffee drinking consumers. Hence, rest of India, our focus is more on digital, more on e-commerce. We are very, very well entrenched into e-commerce. We work with a lot of content creators. So our entire marketing approach in rest of India is completely, I would say it is 180-degree different than what it is in south. In Percol, it is experiential. So I would kind of classify it that south is mass marketing, and rest of India is, what should I say? It is non-TV and it is more targeted marketing. That's the approach. And absolute, it is only expanding and it will continue to expand, but we will plateau in terms of a percentage.
Okay. And I believe you have factories in Switzerland and Vietnam currently,
Yes,
right? And you
yes.
export to more than 110 countries,
Countries.
which is also part of your
Exports
institutional
business.
exports business,
Yes.
right? So that is your global scale that you
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Now that when you spoke about Percol, you spoke about the fact that you're trying to build the entire sustainability
Right.
narrative and educate
Right.
consumers about it. How are you also converting the global scale that Continental has into something that has a more consumer facing brand meaning? Because most of the people still relate coffee with Nescafe, largely because of the fact that it has been a legacy player that is it. So how do you bring the prowess of your manufacturing capabilities and showcase it to the Indian consumers that Continental has a global outreach?
Yeah, so I think, see, first of all, it is irrelevant for consumers whether Continental has global outreach or not. For consumers, because consumers are interested in their own life, and our job is to make ourselves relevant to their life and their lifestyle. What I think our global scale helps. First of all, as I said, that even today we are already selling Percol in UK. So we, as a global organization, even in consumer business or B2C, we are there outside India also. So we are already, and Percol is a no, small but still decently sized brand in UK. So as a brand, it is doing fairly well and it is growing every year around 20-25% over there also. I think our global scale helps us first bringing some of these. Let's say we acquired Percol and brought into India, but more than that, our global scale helps us in better global understanding of consumer habits. We can leverage our global scale, apart from the fact that since we are there in many parts of the world, we may also have the opportunity to open up, let's say, consumer business in other parts of the world. But I think in India, that is the big advantage that we have, and that's how we are already doing it and will continue to do that.
One has seen that the coffee prices have been accelerating a lot, right? And as you try to convert a largely tea drinking country into a coffee loving nation, first time drinkers might find the cost, even if they are very aspirational and want to get into the premium bandwagon, might feel the pitch. If the prices keep increasing as such.
Yeah.
So, according to you, from 5 years from now, will success be measured by higher margins, or will it be that as Continental Coffee will absorb some of the a hit from the input cost, so
Yeah.
that it can continue educating and getting more and more consumers into its fold?
No, I think first of all, coffee is volatile as a commodity, but it is still less volatile than many other commodities. It is also about constant expansion of consumer base. It goes hand in hand, and that is where I think SKUs, pricing, plays a role. So sometimes, if the prices go up significantly, then you will possibly bring smaller SKUs so that the accessibility is not hurt. And that's how it is being managed. I wouldn't say that coffee has become like out of reach. The volatility, in fact, right now there is a softening also that is happening in the coffee commodity prices. So those cyclical things will keep happening, but you can always manage it through SKU and price management. So maybe you will have, suddenly you may see that that sachets will also start growing in rest of India, because let's say in periods when coffee prices are increasing. So I think that is fairly manageable. It is not unmanageable per se. I think that is fairly manageable.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to speak to Cafe
Thanks.
India.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
So if you like the video, here's what you need to do. Click like, follow, and subscribe our channel. Hit the bell icon right below. And more importantly, drop us your comments. So go on, do your thing.